Now that we have woke in our academic institutions and at many places elsewhere, how severe you think the current anti-Semitism could become?
Well, there are people in the room who know way more than I do about far-right anti-Semitism. The KKK type of anti-Semitism, that's not my expertise. But I think that far-right anti-Semitism exists. And then you have the far-left anti-Semitism, which comes dressed up as criticism of Israel or anti-Zionism. And then, of course, you have the Islamist-driven anti-Semitism. You take these two groups together that are now three groups together, two of them of which are forming a coalition of convenience and expedience. And you can imagine if this continues unchallenged, the repercussions of that. I think it's incredibly frightening. When I visit Europe, I find places like the United Kingdom where before October 7, many Jewish people didn't realize they were Jewish. They thought that the years of Jeremy Corbyn, who was Labour leader, and the anti-Semitism that manifested in England, in Britain during those years, had been addressed, now feeling really frightened. I've spoken to Jewish friends who say when they walk the streets of Paris or Amsterdam or London, they feel way more frightened and unsettled and insecure than when they walk the streets of Dubai and even Riyadh. And I find that unsettling.
Right. So is the current anti-Semitism only a threat to the Jews, or is it a threat to wider Western society? Could you please elaborate on that?
I think everybody in this room knows that this is a war on the West, and it's coming through the Jewish communities in the state of Israel. That is always the gateway to the next level of violence, first ideological, and then in action, as we've seen in October 7th. And if you look at the Islamist-driven narratives, that is very, very clear. Islamists say they will destroy Israel because they see it as an obstacle to the ultimate society, the utopia that they seek, which is a society based on Sharia law. And so Iran, in her quest to establish a caliphate, the president of Turkey, Erdogan, in his quest to establish a caliphate, the Muslim Brotherhood and various other NGOs and other Islamist movements that are international, in their quest to establish Sharia-based societies, they see Israel only as an obstacle. Eliminate Israel and then move on to the next and the next and the next. And I think what they see in Israel, what they see in Jewish communities, is this resistance to adopt these new ideas and ideologies. The woke run into the same problems. You may find a handful of Jewish progressives here and there, but Jewish people and Jewish communities seem to be solid in their identity. And I think that incites a great deal of hostility because it is Jews are seen as doing what the Christians aren't doing. The Christians or societies that previously used to be predominantly Christian are not resisting these incursions, these ideological and moral incursions. In fact, they're accommodating it. And so in a way, you can see the logic behind the Islamist agenda, which is it's really becoming easy to convert people. It's easier to convert these lost souls who were previously Christian and are seeking some form of meaning and purpose in life. Why it not for these Jews? Why can't they just submit? I've read some of the manuals of da'wah that divide different groups. They target different groups, how to bring da'wah to the Hispanics, how to bring da'wah to women, how to bring da'wah to the African Americans, to the Jews, and the worries that they share about the Jews and the Jewish resistance to da'wah is very different to these other communities that they seem to have almost no problem with.